Ramaphosa made a call to South Africans to be resilient and those who can, well, must help build a country that will uplift the whole population. Joining me now to speak about this is Professor Peter Baur from the University of Johannesburg. Prof, welcome to SABC News Channel. Today, what does one say? I mean, a couple of days back, we sat back and we saw the economy jump, we saw this movement. There's a lot of hype around the South African economy. But the president, as we heard now, speaking to Prof. Figeni, the job starts in earnest. And the one cry that we've heard throughout the electioneering campaign and day in and day out is the economy, the state of the economy, jobs, jobs, jobs. Where does this president start? The mandate he has now received.
The president has a challenge. He's got a huge challenge on his hands. We're looking at an economy that needs a boost, one heck of a boost in terms of a change in international reputation. I think in a very big way, and I was listening to the radio this morning, the competition, I was listening to 702 this morning, and one of the words that one of the presenters used was the word hope. The South Africans are hopeful. 25 years after democracy has been introduced to this country, true democracy comes in country, we're talking about hope, and we are hopeful that President Cyril Ramaphosa is able to actually bring about this change. But the kind of change that we're looking at now is investment. We need to show the rest of the world that we are a leading African country. And in order to do that, we need to really boost our business sector. We need to boost the entrepreneurial sector. And we need to show the world that business is actually on the leading edge. One of the advantages we have, is that we have an economy which is incredibly free. We are free people, but of an incredible nature. I remember speaking to colleagues from other countries, and they talk about their levels of freedom. United States, Europe, etc., etc. They're not free. They're police states. They have somebody looking over their shoulder, watching them. But we have freedom. We have freedom to do whatever it is that we need to do in order to achieve the goals that this country needs.
And we've seen the president go out, asking for that foreign investment in the country, billions already in the kitty. But as it stands, unemployment, you saw the figures come out a couple of days ago, it's still on the rise. Where does it start? It's a balancing act, isn't it?
Yes,
but
especially if you're sitting at 1% economic growth, and we want to try and push it a little bit further. We need confidence back in the economy, business confidence. We have to assure our business owners, we have to assure our entrepreneurs, we have to assure our farmers, we have to assure the producers and the employers that this is an economy in which to invest in. So we can pump a large amount of money into the economy, but if we're not showing them that there is going to be a future and that there's going to be faith and that we can trust the future of the economy, then obviously we're not going to achieve the goals we need. But it's an international question. Because look at what's happening overseas. We see Donald Trump, whose really vested interests are in the American economy. He's interested in himself. He's not really interested in the real African economy. And of course, if Donald Trump is going to be doing things like sanctions, etc., to other countries, if they are limiting the level of trade to other countries, that's going to affect us. Our export markets are going to be hampered, and that's going to impact us on growth.
I mean, we're 12,000 kilometers away from Beijing and Washington, and that trade war alone is having, an effect in our economy as it stands.
Very much so. And I mean, we need an export market. There's a large amount of products that we're exporting. Primary products are obviously first on our agenda, everything from coal to you name it. And then, of course, semi-manufactured goods go overseas too. And South Africa is an important economy, and we depend on countries like, for example, Germany. And Germany, China, and of course, America. So when they come on with restrictive trade sort of negotiations, that's harming us, and that's harming our potential growth. So I think our focus should be on investors. Let's free up our markets. Let's show the rest of the world that an investor is welcome to come to South Africa.
But we need to start somewhere. We can call investors all we want, but what do we have to offer in South African economy? What do we offer them?
We have a lot to offer in terms of it. You know what? I'm really concerned. And today's Africa Day, so there's another point I wish to bring onto the table, and that is the issue of instability within the African economy. As long as they create instability, as long as there's that image that Africa is a continent of violence, a continent of war, or conflict between each other, which is totally the wrong image. What about our culture? What about our heritage? Where did we come from? All of these valuable concepts are not taken into consideration. So if you take a country like South Africa, which is incredibly powerful culturally, and we can market us in a far bigger and brighter way, and we can show them that the African continent, and lead by example. African continent is not a continent of conflict. We're a continent of harmony. We're a continent who's willing to work together to achieve these goals. Then we can leave a footprint in not only Africa, but we can leave a footprint in the rest of the world. And the rest of the world need our resources. And as long as they create conflict, as long as they're going to create this tension between each other, those resources come cheap. And we are seeing exactly what economies like Donald Trump, for example, is is doing to us. We can see what they're doing to the European Union.
Yeah.
We can see the impact of Brexit, the European Union.
That's where I want to go as well, because I think European Union is having their elections, if not tomorrow, or
Very soon,
very
yeah.
soon as well. So again, and all of those impact on South Africa's, economy.
Absolutely.
Because those are, as you said, the likes of Germany, the likes
Yeah.
of the UK. Those are trading partners at large.
They're very big trade partners of us. And I think in terms of the Brexit, it will have an impact because there's a large amount of flow of trade, of people, of students. Being from the university, obviously I'll focus on that. They flow between the European states. As long as there's a free trade area, there's a large market for us in which we can invest in. But if we're going to isolate, shall we say, the United Kingdom, we're going to isolate that from the rest of Europe, we're going to have to forge new trade negotiations with them. And we don't know what the outcome of that's going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
So we don't know how that's going to actually negatively affect us.
Yeah.
And we want a better relationship between themselves and us.
Now, coming back home, importantly as well, we saw the Eskom CEO resign. That is an integral part of the South African confidence, per se,
Absolutely.
as far as investor. If Eskom can get their act right,
We absolutely. But you know what? We need to invest a lot more. You know what? This is a world that is power hungry. We need energy to grow. Lots and lots of energy. Eskom's got to get it right, but they're going to require a lot of support from government.
Yeah.
So we're going to see, we need more power stations. When you see poor communities living and they're trying to collect whatever energy they can in order to grow. We rely on that. We rely on these institutions like Eskom in order to deliver the kind of power that they need. This thing about load shedding, etc. Yes, other countries in the world have had that in the past. We're not denying that, but we need a consistent supply of energy. And instead of us bickering about what kind of energy, let's get this energy out. We have an abundant supply of coal.
Yeah.
Not that I should say that because, CFC is polluting the environment, etc., etc. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have an abundance of energy. Why are we selling those resources to other countries at reduced prices where we can be producing our own energy and firing up our economy the way we need it?
okay. If you were sitting there and the president right now, I'm sure he's watching and he's taking notes, where does it start in as far as boosting that economy?
The first thing he's going to say, he knows us. He's in that industry. He understands it completely, and he recognizes the dilemmas that we're in.
Yeah.
And he does. And we need to say thank you, Cyril Ramaphosa, for taking on this huge challenge. Because this is going to be a challenge. We want to see how he reshuffles his cabinet, etc. And I think, Cyril Ramaphosa might be a turning stone. This might be a turning stone, not in the history of South Africa, in the history of the ANC, but this is going to be history of South Africa. So we're going to see a new direction. He introduced it within the first 5 minutes of his introductory speech today. He had mentioned issues such as poverty, unemployment, corruption, and all of these things need to be addressed. And he's made that very, very clear. And by bringing it up in his speech, he's acknowledging to the rest of the world, we know we have these problems.
We know the problem. Where the problems lie.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But we want these investors in this country because this is the country you want to invest in into the future. We're part of the emerging economies, and the emerging economies are the fastest growing economies in the world. The economies like in America, Europe, Australia.
So, yeah.
Yes, these so-called advanced, developed economies, their rate of growth is definitely not at the same speed and pace as us. They're large economies. Do not underestimate the size of those economies, but the rate of growth amongst the emerging economies is growing, and the emerging economies are playing a more important role in terms of development of technology, providing all those resources that they need. We're moving into the technology age. We don't have time to hold back. Now we need to put everything we can, and I'm sure my bosses at Varsity will agree with this, we need to invest in education and higher education. We need as much funding as possible in order to drive that technology edge, and we have to respect the fact that there's an arts and culture part of our economy too that we negate. We negate it over the economics. We say we want growth.
And it's a huge one too.
It is massive. So if you take a look at, for example, the artists, how much support are they getting? And where does innovation come from? Where does the innovation in terms of art and culture come from? And we need to look at these people. We need to support them too. Those industries are providing an opportunity to create jobs, to create opportunity for artists to survive. And we need to bring out our culture, who we are. We've got to identify ourselves now as South Africans.
Prof, I'm going to put you in the spot here.
Yes, you're welcome.
New Finance Minister, Cabinet will be announced come Monday. Who and what would the markets like to see in as far as that's concerned?
I would hope that we keep Tito Mboweni. I really do hope that we keep Tito Mboweni. He is highly respected internationally. He was an outstanding Reserve Bank governor for us, and I believe he has the ability and the potential to carry through. He is probably one of the most powerful people in the country right now, and he has shown us time and time again through the difficulties this country's gone through. He has shown us how the Reserve Bank has responded to difficult situations. He has showed us that he's level-headed and he has the ability to drive this economy into a whole new era.
Prof. Peter Baur from the University of Johannesburg's Economic Department, thank you indeed for joining us there. Great insights in as far as the economics and as far as how the president is expected. Well, hopefully we'll